Welcome back to N's NotebookLM. Today we're going to tackle something that every single one of us deals with, but maybe, just maybe, we've been thinking about it all wrong. We're talking about stress and our entire relationship with it.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with the question. Is stress, A, harmful and something you should avoid at all costs, or B, helpful and something you should actually embrace? Now, for years, the author of our source material, Dr. Kelly McGonigal, would have told you A, no question. And I'm guessing most of you are nodding along, thinking, yeah, obviously it's A.
And look, there's a good reason for that. I mean, check this out. A massive study from 1998 followed 30,000 adults, and what it found was pretty scary. High levels of stress increased the risk of dying by a whopping 43%. That seems to settle it, right? Case closed. Stress is the bad guy.
But wait, here is the twist that changes literally everything. That 43% increased risk of death? Yeah, it only applied to people who also believed that stress was bad for them. The people in the study who had high stress but didn't see it as harmful, they were no more likely to die. In fact, get this, they had the lowest risk of death of anyone in the entire study.
So the real kicker wasn't the stress itself. It was the combination of stress plus the belief that it's harmful. The researchers actually estimated that this belief could be the 15th leading cause of death in the US. I mean, think about that. That's more than deaths from skin cancer or HIV/AIDS. And it all boils down to this incredibly powerful psychological idea.
It's called the mindset effect. And it's basically this. A core belief you hold acts like a filter, and it completely changes how you think, feel, and act. But here's the mind-blowing part. It doesn't just change your thoughts. It can actually, physically, transform how an experience affects your body.
To really see this in action, let's look at this brilliant study by a psychologist named Alia Crum. She went into 7 different hotels to work with the housekeeping staff.
So here's what's so wild. Housekeeping is incredibly physical work, right? It burns over 300 calories an hour, which easily meets the Surgeon General's recommendations for an active lifestyle. But when they asked the housekeepers, 2/3 of them said they didn't really exercise, and their bodies actually reflected that belief. Their health metrics looked like someone who lived a sedentary life.
So Crum split them into 2 groups. For one group, she simply told them that their daily work was, in fact, great exercise. That's it. She didn't ask them to work harder or change their diet, nothing. 4 weeks later, look at these results. The group that was told their work was exercise lost weight, their blood pressure dropped, and they were happier with their jobs. The control group, nothing. The only thing that changed was their mindset.
Okay, so if a simple mindset shift can create real, measurable health benefits like that, what happens when we apply that exact same idea to our own stress?
Well, it turns out your body has 2 completely different ways it can respond to a stressful situation. On one hand, you've got the threat response. This is your classic fight or flight, heart-pounding oh no feeling. If your blood vessels constrict and long-term, it's terrible for you. But on the other hand, you have the challenge response. This is when your body gets energized, your focus sharpens, and your blood vessels stay relaxed. It feels less like fear and more like courage. And what's wild is that your mindset is what determines which path your body takes.
And they actually tested this. A study took a bunch of students who were getting ready to take the GRE. You know, that super stressful exam you need for grad school.
Right before a practice test, they told one group of students something simple. They said, hey, that pounding heart, the sweaty palms, that's just your body rising to the challenge. It's here to help you. And what do you know? The students who adopted this stress is helpful mindset scored significantly higher than the other students. They turned a threat into a challenge.
In this positive view of stress, it's not just about acing a test. A huge Gallup poll found something they called the stress paradox. They found that the countries with the highest reported stress levels were also the countries with higher GDP, longer life expectancies, and even greater happiness. How does that even make sense?
Well, it comes down to this really powerful idea. As this quote puts it, people with very meaningful lives worry more and have more stress than people with less meaningful lives. Think about it. Raising kids, pursuing a career you're passionate about, caring for your community. The things that give our lives the most meaning are almost always our biggest sources of stress. A life without stress is often a life without purpose.
So here's the big takeaway, the thing I really want you to hear. You have the power to transform your relationship with stress. You don't have to somehow get rid of all the stress in your life to be healthier and happier. You just have to change how you think about it.
So how do you actually do this in the moment? Well, it's a pretty simple 3-step process. First, just acknowledge the stress. Feel your heart beating faster and just notice it. Second, welcome it. Remind yourself, okay, my body is having this response because this is something I really care about. And third, use that energy. Instead of trying to calm down, ask yourself, what can I do with this energy right now to meet this challenge?
So I'll leave you with this final thought. We've all been taught for so long to treat stress like an enemy that we have to defeat. But what if that's been the problem all along? What if your stress is actually one of your greatest resources, just waiting for you to tap into it?
If this topic has captured your interest and you'd like to dive deeper, the book is called The Upside of Stress by Kelly McGonigal.